Hello, happy people. I hope you guys are having just an absolutely amazing day today. So today, I thought it would be fun for me to knock out another Clark Ashton Smith review that I knocked out yesterday for you folks on the way back from church. It's a faster. It took about 25 minutes for me to knock it out. It's called The Disinterment of Venus. For you folks, let me see when it was published. I read online. It was published initially in 1948 in Arkham House, Genius Loci, for you folks. Now this is set in his as a reminder, Clark Ashton Smith was a big name in the pulp-era too. He was considered this giant figure among people. He's considered the last great poet. He actually published a collection of poetry and that sort of a thing as a kid. I think it's a teen, but yeah. And he was heavily influential at that time. He's done a lot of prose poems and that sort of thing too. So this is set in one of his heavily influential on Castle Amber and that sort of thing too. It's set in that world too, Avronois, in French, in the medieval era, and we're at a monk's place, and then three of them are sort of gardening and setting out stuff, and one of them runs something that feels a little rocky. And then they start to dig around it, and they see it's a little bigger than they thought it was going to be. It really looks more of a statue, and so they disinter it, and it's a statue of Venus, naked, and that sort of thing. And the monks are a little surprised, but they're a little thrown sexually because of her, and ashamed because of her nudity, and that sort of a thing. And then she shows up. They go to their boss. He comes over. He's some really shaking to do, and he's like, we need to not. Some of his people like to tear it apart. Others like sell it for money because it's definitely it's well made, and that sort of thing. So he's like, we'll keep it here until we figure it out, and that sort of a thing. And then stuff happens. They get sent into some darker areas. And that sort of thing. You can definitely tell that Venus is more than just a statue that they have disinterred, but more of an actual proper being. Alrighty, so there you are. That is the Disinterment of Venus by itself. Again, published in the 40s for Arkham House. Fruitless setup. Alrighty, so I'm probably giving this. It was a faster read. It didn't have it didn't have a shock ending in the last page or two, although it did have one that's like in the last 5 pages, I suppose, that you saw coming. But I saw it coming. So it was a more traditional shock ending. It was a nice read though. So I'd say it's probably more of I'm thinking between 6.5 and a 7 for it. First, let's round it up then. And to a 7. And that sort of a thing. I think it's nicely done and pasted and that sort of thing. It's not that long. Nice lush descriptions. But a 7 out of 10 for you folks. Now, Clark Ashton Smith had a near eidetic memory, and he read a dictionary as a kid. So he tends to use words that aren't. He'll typically mix it up. Right? He won't lean on words like cyclopean with Lovecraft, one of his peers. Awesome. So I don't know if I'll probably consider this fantasy, if you will, the 3 genres that he covered and that this channel covers too. He also wrote some Cthulhu Mythos stuff in like Lovecraft, his peer. One of the things like we recently did to that I published on this channel, and me going back and rereading his stuff. One of them was the Epiphany of Death. And such. So yeah, this is definitely a horror. He's done some horror too that are outside the mythos, and then he's also done some science fiction ones here and there. Although fantasy is probably always well known for today through things like Castle Amber and the 7 Gaseouses, stuff like that. And then also again, he was a co-writer with Robert E. Howard, the guy who created Conan, who died in the 30s, and that sort of thing. In the same era as pulp, as Weird Tales, and H.P. Lovecraft too. In the same era, both of those are more popular today than Clark Ashton Smith because they had more popular characterizations. The Sword and Sorcery genre via Conan was popularized with Robert E. Howard. And the cosmic horror didn't exist. I mean, he didn't create it, but it was definitely popularized with this Cthulhu Mythos by Lovecraft. Both of those definitely, I think, are more popular today. But Clark Ashton Smith was, I think, the better author in the era, and he was definitely some very strong stuff. And he actually outlived them both. They both died in their 30s. So there you go. So again, this is 7 out of 10. Have you read it? And so what did you think about it? Let's talk about more in the comments below, whatever your thoughts are. Again, spoiler. I didn't give the ending or any of the darker stuff after the first 4 pages or so after into it. Alrighty. So there you are. 15, about what point do I have it now for you to knock it out? So so there you are. I try to do these reviews of older things each week, like the genres like I already mentioned that he covers too: fantasy, science fiction, and horror for you folks. So if you like those, definitely check out the video and do all the YouTube stuff too. Like hit the subscribe button, the like button, the bell icon. If you're feeling frisky, I do 4 other videos a week too, 7 videos total, and then just hit the like button too and share and watch. Those are the key ways to go to this channel for you folks. And alrighty, so there you are. And once again, I want to, as a reminder, all these older things you can tell are the passion of this channel. And that sort of the thing, reading these older things, you can definitely learn more about the stuff about today. It's also the title of this channel too. The worst thing about new books. That's a quote by a French philosopher named Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old ones. This is definitely some older stuff we might have forgotten about, right? Alrighty, but there you are. So I just want to finish up by thanking you so very, very much, for just taking some time out of your day and, investing it into watching my videos, right? Because we all have so many things, right, that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions, right? So the fact that you took this time with me, that's incredibly humbling. So I appreciate so very, very much. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.